Hello and welcome to our dual credit for homeschool information session. So we'll start off with explaining exactly what dual credit is. As you are listening to this video today, you probably already have a great idea of what dual credit is, but we'll go over that a little bit. So dual credit is a program for high school students who demonstrate college readiness that allows them to enroll in college courses. Our dual credit program enrollment is determined based on college readiness, so SAT, ACT, or TSI, and there's no minimum age for dual credit students to begin. Dual credit functions under exceptional admissions, which is our term that we use for students who are still in high school and are wanting to enroll in college courses. The dual credit program at Lone Star College-Montgomery does not award high school diplomas. We are not a high school program. The student must enroll in a high school program on their side, and you as the administrator are responsible for making sure that the student has met the TEA requirements for the graduation that's set aside for these students. So make sure that you understand that. We are just a tool for you to use, but we are not a homeschool entity. So just a little bit more information about what dual credit is. Dual credit allows you to transfer dual credit courses to other colleges or universities. It allows students to complete college level certifications or degrees. We allow students to save money on college tuition as we offer a reduced tuition fee. We allow students to accelerate their time to degree completion as they can complete college classes while they're still in high school. It also allows them to build confidence and access to Lone Star College services. So it's a wonderful program for your students to get that head start in their college careers. So let's talk a little bit about what classes you can take as a dual credit student. So the state of Texas has identified lists of classes that are eligible for any dual credit student. And as a homeschool student, your options are very broad and you have a lot of choices that you can utilize. So the first thing is anything that's in our Lone Star College core curriculum, with the exception of PHED 1164, which is a PE course, physical education course, is eligible for dual credit. You can go onto our Lone Star website and you can search anywhere on that website and just search core curriculum, and you'll be able to very easily find a full listing of what those courses are. But in general, it's going to be your English, your history, your science, your math, those kinds of things. In addition to the core, we have all of our foreign languages are eligible for dual credit. Anything that is a level 1 certificate, so that is going to be your workforce courses. So anything that is welding, machining, automotive, things like that that have a level 1 certificate may be eligible for dual credit. And then anything that's in a specific field of study of accounting, BCIS, business, COSC or computer science, criminal justice, and engineering are all eligible for dual credit. The core curriculum and the foreign languages and the field of study are pretty easy for you to identify on your own if the course that you're interested in taking is eligible. The level 1 certificate, it might take a little bit more digging. My suggestion would be if you have a program that your student is interested in pursuing and it's a workforce program, just talk to an academic advisor and they'll be able to tell you whether or not the class is eligible for dual credit. You can also find a list of our dual credit classes on our website with the link that's listed on the screen here. A couple of quick notes about some classes that are not eligible for dual credit. EDUC 1300, that's our student success course, our freshman seminar. This is a course that's required for all first-time in college students, but it is not required for dual credit students, and in fact, it's not eligible for dual credit students. They can take it as college credit only, that it's not part of our core, which means that it's not eligible for dual credit. The developmental classes or co-requisite classes, these are classes that a student would take if they did not place college level on the placement test. Those classes are not eligible in any case for a dual credit student. In order to take a developmental class, a student must graduate from high school. So if you're dual credit, you cannot take any kind of developmental or co-requisite course. So just keep that in mind when you are doing your placement testing and your course selection. So just a little bit of information about our different types of degrees. We offer for our dual credit students really anything that you would need we have it available for you. So we have transfer degrees. That's going to be our Associate of Arts and our Associate of Science. Anything that's, like I said, in our core is going to work towards those Associate of Arts and Associate of Science degrees. So if your student's goal is to go to a four-year college or university, then following that core is a fantastic place to start. And then I just talked a little bit about workforce degrees and certificates. Those are all wonderful options if your student is interested in getting directly into the workforce. Like I said before, there's plenty of options for them to choose from. Just talk to an advisor, and they will be able to talk to you about what their options are and what classes they can take as a dual credit student. A little bit of information about the format of our courses. We have in-person courses, where it's just pretty obvious. A student goes to the campus, they attend their class at a certain class time. We have online courses, which are either fully online, and the student either has deadlines throughout the week that they have to meet, but they don't have a specific class time, or they have a specific class time where the student will meet with their class or their instructor for a lecture at a certain time, and they have to be present and attendance will be taken and things like that. And then there's the hybrid, which is obviously a mixture. The student will go to class 1, maybe 2 days a week, and then there'll also be coursework that's happening in the online environment as well. So when you're looking at classes and trying to identify, just keep an eye on the class modality. It will tell you very specifically whether it's online, in-person, hybrid, and if it's online, whether it's 100% online your time, which means no scheduled meetings, or 100% online with scheduled meetings. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at the class search. In addition to the different modalities, we also have different lengths of classes. So we have the traditional 16-week courses. That's going to be your full semester in fall, August to December, and in spring, it's going to be January to May. Those are going to be your 16-week traditional classes. Then we also have 14-week, 12-week, and 8-week courses. And those are going to be the same amount of material as the 16-week classes, but squeezed into a smaller time frame. So it's going to move a little bit more accelerated than the other class, their traditional class. And then, of course, in the summer, our summer classes are traditionally 6 weeks, and our mini-mesters are traditionally 3 weeks. We offer mini-mesters in both December and May, and dual credit students are eligible to take any of these options when they're assigning their courses. I do suggest, though, first-time dual credit students to stick to the traditional 16-week courses just for the first semester at least, until you kind of get a little bit more familiar with how our courses work, and that way you're not trying to squeeze too much information into a smaller time period. So in addition to our regular offerings that we offer everybody, we also have some specialized classes like honors courses and study abroad, learning communities, things like that. As a dual credit student, you are eligible for any of the courses that we offer to our regular students. So if your student is interested in taking honors courses, you can absolutely apply to be a part of the Honors College and go that route. So all of the options are available to you. So let's talk a little bit about cost, because I know I touched on that previously, that dual credit is going to offer you reduced tuition. So this is what that looks like. A standard college class is going to be 3 credit hours. So if you're taking English or history or college algebra or something like that, it's a 3 credit hour class. It's going to be $270 for a regular college student, but it's only $78 for a dual credit student. So you can see on this chart that amount increases each credit hour that you add, but it's still significantly cheaper to do a class as dual credit than it is to do it as a regular college student. So it's a wonderful benefit to our dual credit program. One caveat on finance is that dual credit students are not eligible to complete the FAFSA or the TAFSA, as one of the requirements of that is that you must graduate from high school or have a GED. So as a dual credit student, they're not eligible to complete a FAFSA or TAFSA for financial aid. So just remember that when you're trying to make payment for your classes. So let's talk a little bit about campus resources and services. So as a dual credit student, you are eligible to receive the exact same services, access the same resources as all of our other students. We have some great resources here on campus that you can take advantage of. Of course, we have academic advising and a testing center. We also have disability services that you can utilize, our counseling services, career services. Our library has a full slate of databases and resources you can use there. Transfer advising, Veterans Affairs, if the student has a parent that was a veteran and you want to use benefits, you can do that. And then tutoring as well. And we'll talk a little bit about tutoring in just a moment. But let's talk about the library. So the library is available to all of our dual credit students, and in fact, they should absolutely know where that is and how to access our library resources, because it's going to be very important for your classes. But if you're on campus, we do have copying and printing services in our library. We have plenty of computers for access, reference books, online database access, and librarians that will help you every step of the way. We also have study rooms if your student is involved in a group project and they need to meet with their classmates. It's a fantastic place to go. So tutoring services are totally free of charge. It does not cost anything to go to see a tutor, and I strongly recommend that students take advantage of this resource and don't wait until you're already doing poorly in a class to get tutoring, because sometimes it's a little bit too late at that point. So definitely check out the tutoring website, and you can see that link on the slide here. It's mavericksresearch.lonestar.edu, and you can sign up for in-person, online, or on-demand options, and you can get assistance with whatever you need. Currently, students schedule appointments through the Tutoring Center online. And if you need TSI test prep, that is also an option. There are some great on-demand options for TSI that you can watch some videos, do some worksheets, and prep. If you haven't already completed your placement testing, your TSI testing, this is a wonderful place to go and get access to those resources before you go in for your initial test. So a little bit about campus safety and policies. One of the things that you might see when you log into your myloneStar account for the first time, or it might be under your to-do list, you might see something called the Campus Health, Safety, and Risk Management Awareness Modules. This is something that every student is required to complete. We call them the Charisma modules, and they don't take very long to do, but you do need to complete those during that first semester, and this is required, again, for all students. So this is just a little bit more information on the Charisma modules. You will receive an email telling you how to access them through your myloneStar account if you haven't already, and you do have to take a quiz to complete it, but the quiz score is 80% is required to pass, and you can take it as many times as you need. And you can always pause and restart any component and rewatch wherever you need to. A little bit more about campus safety. We do have a full police force that is active on our campus 24/7. There are fully fledged police officers. We also have safety officers as well who supplement the police officers' efforts. And the police office is housed in our parking garage, and they're only just a phone call away. So if you ever have any problems, if you're taking a night class and you just want somebody to walk you to your car because you're not quite comfortable, they will be there for that. So just take note of these emergency and non-emergency numbers. They are happy to assist you. Also have our lost and found located in our parking garage area. So speaking of emergencies, if you are a student with us, I strongly suggest that you sign up for emergency alerts sent to your phone. If there's anything that's going on campus that you need to know about, a tornado drill or a tornado warning or something like that, they will send you a text message so you're alerted immediately. And so definitely want to go set that up through your profile tile in your myloneStar and click on emergency alerts and put your phone number in there so they can text you in case of an alert goes off. Okay, so now we've kind of gone through all of the general campus information, so let's dive a little bit into the dual credit registration process. So the dual credit registration process may seem overwhelming at first, but that's why we do these sessions, is we want to make it and break it down as much as we can and make it as easy as possible for you. So we'll go over what each one of these steps means in just a moment, but just in broad terms, the first step before you do anything else is you're going to apply. You're going to apply through Apply Texas and complete the application. Once you've completed that application, you're going to sign into your myloneStar account for the first time. This is going to be your student portal. This is going to be where you access everything that you need as a student. Then you need to show college readiness. You're going to need to complete the vaccination requirements. You are going to need to complete required forms, and then you're going to turn all of those in and get registered. So let's talk about what each one of those steps means for you. So first step, apply. You're going to apply through lonestar.edu/apply, or you can go straight to applytexas.org. This application is the exact same application all of our regular college students complete. The only difference is it's going to ask you a question on there if you are still currently in high school, or if you're a dual credit student, please check yes. So make sure you choose that option. That way your account is built correctly. Aside from that, you're just going to complete all of the basic information you would expect on a college application. And within about 24 to 48 hours, you will receive an email from myloneStar telling you that your application has been accepted and that here's your ID number and this is your instructions on how to log into myloneStar. So that's going to be your next step, is signing into myloneStar. The first time that you sign in, you're going to have to set up your password. After that, you will be able to just log right in. And when you log in, you'll see a page that looks something like this on my left side of my screen, where it has an applicant and a student tile. Your first thing you'll probably want to do is click on that applicant tile. It will show you a new student checklist, and it will show you the items that you need to complete and how to complete each one of those items. For dual credit students, they don't necessarily need to complete all of them. The steps vary just a little bit. You do not need to complete new student orientation if you don't want to, and the bacterial meningitis requirement is only required if you're taking classes in person, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. The high school transcript is also not required to be submitted through there, as you're going to submit it somewhere else in just a moment. So you'll see that applicant tab. You'll click that, you look at those checklist items. Then once you do that, then you'll click on that student tile. And on the right side of my screen is what that student tile will look like for you. So this is where you're going to go to be able to look at your academic records, to be able to look at how much you owe for your classes, to edit your profile. You'll be able to look at any tasks that you have, and then this is also where you're going to search for classes when you're ready to register. So all of this is going to be done through this student tile on your myloneStar account. So just know that that's there, familiarize yourself with it, and then when you're ready to go, you'll already know what you're doing. So step 3 is demonstrate college readiness. So there are multiple ways that you can demonstrate college readiness. These are the 5 different test scores that we will accept from the 5 different testing agencies. So SAT, ACT, TSI 1 and TSI 2, and as well as PSAT, which is special only for dual credit students. If you are a new student with us and you have not taken any testing and you don't have previous PSAT scores or anything like that, you will be taking the TSIA 2.0, and that's that one in the far right column, and those are the required scores that you need in order to place college level in the TSI. So let's talk a little bit about what that means if you need to take the TSI placement test. So the TSI is offered on our campus, and we offer it virtually every day, Monday through Saturday, and you can take it either in person or online. You can also take it at the Conroe Center campus. The test costs $29 for the first time, but for dual credit, we do waive that fee, so it's no charge. And the biggest piece of information that you'll probably need to prepare for this test, aside from utilizing our tutoring services, is to make sure that you have a photo ID. A lot of students at this age don't have a photo ID. If you don't, that's okay. You can still test with us, but there is a form that you'll need to complete called the AccuPlacer Student ID form. And this is basically just a form that you fill out all the student's pertinent information, attach a photo of the student, and have that form notarized, and then you will bring that with you to the testing center for in place of the ID. And this form can be found on our website under the Resources tab, and you'll be able to complete all that. So make sure if your student doesn't have an ID that they complete that form. Otherwise, you will not be able to complete the test. So the TSI, it is an untimed exam, but you should plan for about 3 to 5 hours for the student to test. It has 3 parts. It's got an English, an essay, and a math. And results are available immediately upon completion. If the student is wanting to take dual credit classes with us, they do not have to pass or place college level in every single area of the TSI in order to take anything. They do have to take the full test their first time around, but if they place college level in the English and essay but not the math, that's okay. The student can take English or history classes or speech or anything like that, and then later down the road, maybe once they've taken another math class through their high school, you can retest in just that math section. Each section that you want to retest is just $10 each time. So if you want to schedule your TSI test with us, there are 2 options. One is in person and one is virtual. The way that you access these tests is the same in both places. You go to lonestar.edu/testing-Montgomery, and you will request an appointment. For the in-person option, we offer, like I said before, testing Monday through Saturday, and you'll fill out the online form that's posted on this website and give them their information. They will contact you within a day or 2 and provide you with appointment times. If you want to do a virtual option, you will request a TSI testing voucher, which is it's done through the same process as if you were doing it online. You just choose virtual. And the student needs to make sure that they have access to a desktop computer, PC, or Mac is fine, with a microphone and a webcam, and they need to be able to be in a closed room with nobody else in there with them. These tests are administered through a third-party company called Examity, and they do charge a $25 service charge. The one nice thing about Examity, though, is they will work with you and schedule your testing on your own time. So whatever time works best for you, even if you want to test at 11 o'clock on a Friday night, as long as they have that time slot available, you can do that. So they're very flexible, but there is an additional charge. So step 4, the bacterial meningitis requirement. This requirement is only for students that want to take classes in person. If you feel like you're going to take fully 100% online, you do not have to complete this requirement. But there are 2 ways to do this. One is you can submit your vaccination records online, and you will do that through your myloneStar account. Under that applicant tab and under the new student checklist, you'll see those steps. The second way to do it is to complete a conscientious objection form. The conscientious objection form is just an online form that is provided to us by the Texas State Department of Public Health, and it is signed by the parent or the student. And it just basically says that you are aware of the requirement and that you would like to waive it. Either one is a good option, whichever one you prefer. The proof of vaccination, if you do that, you do have to pay a fee of $10.50 to upload those shot records to a third-party website that reviews them. So if you want to do the conscientious objection option, you can just submit that paperwork through our admissions office. Step 5 is submitting the required forms. So this is just a quick reference chart because I'm a visual person, so you can see exactly what those forms are that are required for our new students and exactly what's required for our returning homeschool students. So we'll talk about what each one of these are in just a moment, but just a general overview. As a new student, you need a registration and parental consent form. You need a FERPA form. You need a homeschool transcript. You need a graduation plan, and you need a homeschool agreement. Then subsequent semesters, the only things that you need to turn in each semester is a registration and parental consent form, homeschool transcript, and a graduation plan. And we have all of these forms posted on our website at myloneStar.edu/Montgomery dual credit forms. So let's talk about each one of these. We're going to start with the FERPA form because this one is, while it's not strictly required, it is strongly recommended. The FERPA form allows us to talk to somebody that your student designates that is not them. And the reason for this is as soon as a student becomes a student with us with Lone Star College, as soon as they submit an application, they are now protected under the Federal Educational Rights and Privacy Act. And this is established to protect the privacy rights of all students, and it requires us to talk to no one except for the student. So we can't talk to mom, dad, friends, aunts, uncles about the student's account without their written consent. Now, we know this doesn't always make sense for your 16-year-old student, so that's why we strongly recommend this FERPA. The form is signed by the student, and they authorize exactly who they want to release that information to. So here's an example of what the form looks like. At the top, they would fill out their name. Then the second portion, they would tell us exactly what they are allowing us to release. And then the third portion is who the information can be released to. So they need to put on there the name of the person or persons that they would like to release their information. And then at the very bottom, they will sign it. So it's strongly recommended. Definitely suggest that you want to have your student complete that form that very first time. It's going to make your life a lot easier as the parent. The next form that you're going to complete is the homeschool agreement. This form it's about 10 pages, and it just talks about the rights and responsibilities as the student and the rights and responsibilities for the college. So you'll need to submit this the very first time that you come to us, and then after that it will stay on record. The next thing is the transcript and grad plan. So I'm going to spend a minute on this because this is probably one of the most common questions that we get is related to this transcript and grad plan requirement. Each semester that you register with us, you are required to submit a transcript and a grad plan. And each semester it should be updated to reflect the most current information for the student. When you're looking at what the difference between the two are, The transcript, obviously, I'm sure all of you know this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. The transcript is a document that shows the classes the student has already taken and the grades that they earned for that class. The graduation plan is a document that shows the classes that the student must take in order to be considered graduated from their high school program. So the difference is obviously one has completed courses and one has courses that need to be completed. And if you prefer, you can absolutely combine those into the same document. They do not have to be separate documents. So let's look a little bit about what the transcript requirement is. So there is a template for you if you prefer to use it, but you are not required to use our template. You can submit your transcript in whatever form makes sense to you, but there are a few requirements that you have to meet. First, the transcript must be typed and signed. It must have the student's name, date of birth, name of high school, expected graduation date, transcript print date, principal's signature, and a list of all of the courses completed so far by academic year, grade level, semester, and grade. So pretty simple, pretty basic, but it is important that it's typed and signed. We will have to send it back to you if we don't have each of those things completed. So this is the sample of the transcript that we have. This one is posted on our website. It's a fully fillable form, so you can utilize that electronically if you prefer. And I just outlined where each of those, if you're filling this form out, where each of those areas are. So that is the school name, the student name, the date of birth, the area where they input the grades and the courses, the graduation date, signature, and print date. Make sure that those fields are completed and we will be in good shape. So for the grad plan, the rules are very, very similar. Again, this document must be typed and signed. It must have the student's name, name of high school, graduation plan, print date, principal's signature, anticipated graduation date, and the courses left to complete in order to graduate high school arranged by academic year, grade level, semester, and expected date of graduation. So here's an example. Again, use whichever format you want, but here's a sample. Student name, anticipated graduation year, high school, signature, and date. Also, you'll see on this graduation plan, I've filled in 2 years on here so you can kind of see what type of inputs you should be putting on your graduation plan. One of the most common things I see from our homeschool families is they get very, very specific on their homeschool graduation plans. And that's really just makes it a little bit more complicated for you. What I suggest is keeping it generic as possible. So instead of on that 12th grade year, instead of putting math 1314, English 1302, biology 1406, etc., you just put the basic course area. So math, English, science, social studies. That way, if there's slight changes in the course that you had planned versus the course that's actually the student is actually taking, it will make it a lot easier for you because you're not having to make those changes every time. So keep it as general as possible. You can also, like I have entered here, put just an elective listed on here. That's perfectly fine. And again, just another quick reminder, we are not a homeschool entity. We cannot advise on requirements for a homeschool plan or homeschool curriculum. That is totally something that you will need to find out from TEA and on your own. But we can advise you on what courses are eligible for dual credit. So just make sure you keep those two items separate. Okay. So here is an example of what our course approval or our registration and parental consent form looks like. It's got a lot of words on it, but it's pretty simple to figure out. The top portion is going to be where the student enters their information and signs. The second portion is going to be the parental consent piece. And then the third portion is going to be where you enter the classes and where the administrator signs off on the classes. And let me show you what that looks like here. On this slide, this is going to be the portion of the form where you input the classes. So keep in mind, dual credit students cannot register themselves. So completing this form is how we are actually going to register you for the class. So what we can't accept is this top section where you just put in that you want to take English 1301 and you don't have anything else selected. What we need is to know exactly which teacher, which time, which location you're wanting. And so that's why we have to have the class number and the section number completed. So make sure that when you're searching for classes, you give us that information. We will not pick a course for you. We don't want to choose your courses for you since we are college. We want to give you that ability to choose those on your own. So make sure that you enter the class number, subject, catalog number, section number, and then make sure you select your appropriate term and whether the class is dual credit or college credit only. And if you ever have any questions, you can always leave that blank, and when you meet with an advisor or our dual credit department, we can certainly help you figure out which number goes in which spot. So step 6, we're finally there, is registration. So again, as I said just a moment ago, dual credit students can't register or drop themselves. So all registrations must be done through the dual credit or academic advising departments. So the easiest way to get the registration completed is to submit your documents online. And you can do that through our homeschool website, which you'll see in yellow at the top of the screen. It's lonestar.edu/Montgomery homeschool dual credit. And it's easy because it's the same place that you're going to go to find all of the steps and all of the forms. So once you've completed all those forms, you're going to go back to that same website. You'll see a box on that screen that says ready to register. Submit your documents here. You'll click that, fill out the online form, and submit it to us. We will get notified immediately upon your submission, and we will respond to you with our registration confirmation or issues within 1 to 2 business days. And if you don't hear from us in 2 business days, feel free to reach out and email us and ask us what's happening with your registration request. And this pro tip that I've added on here is anytime that we're coming up to the beginning of a semester, just remember that our classes do tend to fill pretty quickly. So one of the things that we have added onto our online form when you upload your documents is as a question that asks, would you like to provide us with alternate class options in case the ones that you chose are full? And I would strongly suggest that you select yes and that you fill in those alternate class options. It's going to make things a lot smoother on your end because you're not having to wait for us to check those classes, then email you, have you search for a new class, then you email us and get back. And there's a lot of back and forth there. If you already provide us with here's alternate number 1 for this class, here's alternate number 2 for this class, that way we really just process it on your behalf and we get it done a lot quicker for you. So a few important reminders for you about dual credit. So grades in a dual credit and college credit classes become a part of your permanent college record. So when you're a dual credit student, those grades do not look any different on a college transcript than they do when you are a college student. So they aren't differentiated in any way, so they are part of your permanent college record. And if you transfer anywhere, those classes will transfer with you. So make sure as a student that you take these classes seriously and that you do well in them. If you do not do well in them, for instance, if you receive a D or an F in one of those classes, you are no longer eligible for the dual credit program. And this is really just a way to protect students from getting low GPAs before they even graduate high school. And if you are going to transfer somewhere else, you will need to request a transcript from Lone Star College to be sent to another college or university. And this is all done through your myloneStar account. And each official transcript that you send costs $10, and you'll just request that, and it's usually sent within 24 or 48 hours to the college of your choice. So a little bit of information about our classroom expectations. As a dual credit student, our instructors and our faculty are not notified that your student is dual credit. They don't know, there's nothing on the roster that shows they're any different. So students' expectations are the exact same for a dual credit student as they are for any of our adult students. Make sure that you know who your professor is and know what their contact information is. Make sure that you purchase that course textbook. Make sure that you read that class syllabus on the very first day to make sure that the class that you want is the class that you're sitting in. If you're attending an in-person or an online scheduled class, make sure that you are on time and that you attend every course. It's also very strongly recommended that you meet at least one student in your class in case you have to miss or something. You have somebody that you can reach out to and get notes from. And then, of course, make sure that if you are struggling in your class or you're having an issue or you have to miss because of illness or family emergency or something like that, always reach out to your professor. There is nothing wrong with reaching out to your professor and explaining a situation with them. And if you don't tell them what's going on, they can't help you. Even if you don't understand a concept, professors want to hear from you. So make sure that you talk to them and ask questions and utilize them to their fullest degree. Payment, we're getting towards the end here. The payment requirement, of course, it has to be done before the payment deadline, and you can pay online, in person, or through a payment plan if you need to. Just always, if you aren't sure what the payment deadline is, you'll get plenty of emails, but if you aren't sure, you can go to lonestar.edu/payment. You can find all of the deadlines there. And if you happen to register for a class after a payment deadline has passed, just know that you have to make payment that same day for those classes. Okay, so hopefully nobody will have to use this information, but dropping courses sometimes happens, life happens. So if you need to drop a course, just remember that dual credit students cannot drop themselves. So you'll have to go to our website, find that drop form and submit it to us. But there are a couple different types of drops. One is if you drop a class before official day of record, which is the 10th day of class. If it's a full semester, it's a little shorter if it's a summer class or a shorter semester class. But if you drop it before that 10th day, you get to drop it without any penalty on your transcript. It will not appear on your transcript. It will not look like you took the class at all. So if you get to a class and you show up the first day and it's not at all what you expected, you can drop that class without a W. If you drop after that official day of record, the class will show as a W on your transcript. You may or may not be eligible for a refund, depending on when you drop. If you drop early in the semester, before official day, typically you get a 70% refund, and then it goes down incrementally after that. There is a 6-drop rule in the state of Texas, where any student that's taking classes in Texas can only withdraw 6 times from their classes before they are no longer eligible for withdrawals. However, dual credit students are not held to that rule. Dual credit students' classes do not count towards the 6-drop maximum. While it still appears on your transcript as a W, it just doesn't count towards that 6-drop rule. And then finally, if you have to, for whatever reason, repeat a course 3 or more times, there is an additional charge called a 3-peat charge of $60 per credit hour that is not waived by dual credit reduced tuition. And that wraps up our presentation today. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. The easiest way and the quickest way to reach out to us is via email. We are pretty quick at responding, and you can reach us at mc-dualcredit@lonestar.edu. The other thing that you should check out is on our website at lonestar.edu/Montgomery dual credit. You will see a box for homeschool. Click on that and it will take you through every single step for new students and returning students, along with all the paperwork. And then at the very bottom, you will see an FAQ. We've tried to cover all of the most common questions that we get. So take a look at those FAQs. Your answer probably can be found there. We also have a resources page on our website that has a dual credit degree plan for both an Associate of Arts and Associate of Science. That makes it super easy for you to go in and figure out which classes you should be taking for a specific degree plan. We also have a resource on there that shows you how to do a class search and how to find that AccuPlacer photo ID form. So hopefully you found this presentation useful, and we look forward to registering you for your classes soon. Thanks.